So let's break down these 3 M's, shall we? Mindful. Being mindful means being present. It's not about thinking about anything else beyond the moment that you are in right here. When I was preparing myself for this talk, I could tell you right now, I was nervous, even though I've been speaking for almost 15 years now. But I was nervous because I didn't know everybody here. And that sense of, will it last on them? Will they be able to connect with me with what I'm saying? But I realized that it's all about being mindful, being present in the moment, discussing something that I feel will be beneficial to those who are on this call. Well, think about that for a second. Those moments that you have had where you have had conversations with people, but your mind was somewhere else. Raise your hand if you ever had a moment like that. I know I have. Where your mind is somewhere else, but you're trying to stay involved with the conversation, but you're not really there. It's happened. And in those moments, you have lost some of that connection that you can have with those individuals. So the idea is to stay mindful in those moments. Now, of course, that turns into meaningful. Now, it's pretty self-explanatory what meaningful means, but in this case, we are talking about the depth of those conversations. Is it surface level? Let me put it to you this way. Have you ever had a conversation with somebody and they've sat there and they said to you that something happened in their lives? Maybe there was a death in the family or someone got sick that was close to them. And you happen to see that person again at another event or maybe the next week at work somewhere. Have you ever taken a moment to just say, hey, I remember you told me about your friend. How's that going? Tell me how you have seen their faces react in those moments. They light up, right? I'm looking at Val and she's shaking her head. They light up, don't they? Because they saw that they meant something to you, that you remembered what they said. In business, it is about how you make meaningful dialogue with people, not just the surface about the business or the supply or the products or anything like that, or in a personal conversation, keeping it on a high level. It's when you get a little deeper, when you have those moments where you really get to know them. So what I didn't do in that moment with that gentleman is I didn't take a moment to actually find out who he was. Where did he come from? What was his plans when he came here? Even if it was a simple conversation that made him feel like he was the most important person in the room, that could have changed the trajectory of that day completely. So always make sure that your connections are meaningful, that they last. When Frank and I got on the phone, we had meaningful conversations. We didn't just discuss it from the perspective of achieve. I learned about him, and he took the time to learn about me. And that made us both feel like we were involved in this conversation. We were mindful of being present and not letting anything else distract us. And then we were meaningful with the dialogue that we shared and the depth in which we went. And this is, of course, what I would hope that I can have with many of you here today, is having that meaningful conversation at some point. Over the years, I have taught hundreds of people, whether it's from emerging speakers to entrepreneurs to those in C-suite positions, how to have meaningful conversations that connect and are intentional every time when they go out there. And there is a difference. We can be all about the work, but I want to know what Val's going through. and why she is who she is. I want to know what makes Tim successful. And I want to get to know that part of him. I want to know why Kathy laughs so loud all the time and looks like she's always happy. And I got to get some of whatever she's having. But the point is, that's where the real conversations happen. And of course, when it's all said and done, that's what makes it memorable. When you can remember that person a day, a week, a month, and even a year later, because they meant something and you remembered them because of the instant connection that you shared with them.